Welcome to Film Riot. Before we get started, this is your last reminder that tomorrow starts Cinesummit, that it's the 2-day-long free filmmaking event. There's a bunch of speakers, including myself. I'll be speaking on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so definitely mark that down. Jump over to the Cinesummit website and register right now so you can be involved in that for free. One of the speakers, of course, as I've said before, is Roger Christian. He is the art director from Alien and Star Wars, so a lot of really great stuff there. So make sure you jump to the website and register right now. But now, let's jump into some questions. First question, now that everyone is a self-proclaimed filmmaker because the technology is so available, do you think it's more difficult to get noticed because the common audience doesn't know the difference between a professional and amateur produced video? I think it's a little more difficult now to get noticed because there's so much noise out there. There's so many people just putting up videos, filmmaker or not, and just vlog videos, whatever, that it's hard to have your video be the one that someone clicks on. But I don't think it's anything that has to do with confusing someone who is or isn't a filmmaker. I definitely don't agree with the idea that the audience doesn't know the difference between an amateur and a professional. And if you're making stuff that looks like it could have been in Hollywood or is made by a big crew and maybe you're just one person, well, then you're a filmmaker and a very good one. And I think people can definitely tell the difference between somebody who just started out and doesn't really know what they're doing and someone who is a filmmaker who's been doing it for a really long time and has tightened and refined their work to be able to present a certain experience for an audience. And that's absolutely a filmmaker. If you're out there telling stories and entertaining people and making them think or whatever it is that your approach is, you are a filmmaker. Just because you're in Hollywood or not does not dictate that. After some years of experience, do you think capturing good audio or good video is more challenging? Do you pre-pro sound design or does it become more of a gap filler in post for you? I really want to step up my sound game. I think sound is the more difficult one for me to get right. And I think that seems to be the case for most low independent sort of filmmakers. And it's, as I've said on the show, a bunch, the most important to get right. People will forgive a bad image, but they won't forgive bad audio. So I'm always focused on that. But I also just think a lot in terms of sound. So I'll write things into a script that I know specifically sound is going to be doing a specific thing here, not necessarily detail it that it is a sound and this is what the sound's going to be doing, but stuff that I know the way that I'm writing it, that music and sound are going to be a certain character in this, and I know how I'm going to handle this scene based on the sounds that I'm going to use. So I'm already thinking sound in pre-production. I think that's really important because sound, just like your actors, just like your cinematography, is another thing that is completely shaping the experience you're giving your audience. This is more of a YouTube question, but when you're having trouble coming up with an idea, Film Riot episodes, where do you find ideas? What inspires your ideas the most? I think just whatever's going on at the time. Whatever I'm putting in is eventually what's going to come out. So just reading things, looking at the news, looking through social media of what people are talking about, what people are interested in, just kicking around ideas with friends, joking around with the guys here usually ends up being something fun, or just looking through the requests that we have for different techniques or effects or whatever it is for the show, and then, thinking about what would be funny to tack onto that. You got to start somewhere. I've said it a bunch before. You can't just have a universe of ideas. You have to have a box that you're going to start putting things in. The more you restrict yourself, the more you're going to find that it's freeing in that you're going to start being able to put puzzle pieces together. But you have to start with some image. If it's just a ton of puzzle pieces from a ton of different boxes, you end up never making any of them. So I try to restrict myself as much as possible, and that helps me come up with ideas a lot faster. With the birth of your second child coming and prioritizing your family, with what you know about the film industry, would you want or even hope that your kid follows in your path? I don't know. I mean, if they're doing it with me, that's great. But it can be a pretty sketchy industry for people. So it just depends. When they get older and they're a solid person and they're not going to be swayed by the madness that's out there, then yeah, I have no problem with it. But I think it's definitely something that is pretty unhealthy for younger people. Hi, Ryan. Is the 1 minute short film contest international? I'm French and I really want to participate. Thank you. Yes, it will be international, but we'll get more into details in that episode, which the detail episode is coming September 18th. Any plans for a short film soon? Yes, actually, we're going to be shooting something in October. And that's all I'm going to say about that. for now. How can U.S. film composers get good credits under our belts? Start composing. Hook up with filmmakers, compose for free if you have to, start getting stuff out there, and then pass your work around, and eventually, hopefully, you're going to start getting a name for yourself. That's how a lot of the composers that I know have done it. They just started composing. They composed for as many filmmakers as they possibly could, and slowly but surely, their name started getting passed around. They started making more and more money, and then eventually, your name lands on the right person. But you also need experience to really be able to nail those things down, because often there's insane turnarounds from what I hear from a lot of my friends. So you got to be Johnny on the spot and being able to turn around something really good in an insanely short amount of time. Hey Ryan, more and more people say post-millennial movies tend to get worse. What are your thoughts? I think that you're always going to have the people that say things like music used to be so much better and music is terrible now, and where's the talent in television and blah, 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 blah. And I don't agree with any of it. If you go back to any era, you had tons of stuff that was not good, and then you had some standout, really talented stuff. That's just always been the case. I think the only difference between now and then is the gatekeeper is kind of gone. You can get things out there so much easier, and you're going to hear about them. So all the things that used to be very difficult to find that were terrible, you're now seeing all over the place. But I think we have some of the best films that we've ever had. We have great artists. I'm really excited about all of it. So no, I don't agree with that at all. I think it's a bunch of crap, and I think it's people finding things to complain about because that's what people do. There's nothing more discouraging than having a pile of overdue paperwork just sitting there staring at you while you try to work or do anything you enjoy at all. Well, our friends at FreshBooks have their cloud accounting software that lets you do the work you love and not be discouraged by the paperwork demon. FreshBooks has been redesigned from the ground up and custom built for the way that you work. It's the easiest way to be more productive, organized, and most importantly, get paid quickly. The all-new FreshBooks is not only ridiculously easy to use, it's also packed full of powerful features. You can create and send professional-looking invoices in less than 30 seconds, set up online payments with just a couple of clicks, and get paid up to 4 days faster. See when your client has seen your invoice and put an end to the guessing games. FreshBooks is offering a 30-day unrestricted free trial to our viewers, so check out freshbooks.com/FilmRiot and enter FilmRiot in the How Did You Hear About Us section.
Logo.
So that's it for today, and for what I'm watching, I just saw it. If you have not seen it, go out and see it. If you like horror films, definitely check it out. I absolutely loved it. It was definitely dark and scary, but more in an adventure sort of way. It was like a horror adventure. It wasn't trying to disturb, at least in my opinion. I really dug it, so definitely check that out. And there's some good BTS online, which we'll link in the notes below. Until next week, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.